Welcome back. So now that the user chooses a meal, we need to register that meal, and we might need to ask the user again if the user wants another meal or just to check out. So what I'm going to do is that I am going to respond to the user. And in order to respond to the user, you need to add event listener in the send button add event listener. Here we need to add a function or create a function. So here we can create another function or call another function actually. Call it restaurant respond or response to user. And we can pass the message, which is message text. And we can now create this function. Let's create this function, which is going to be just here function. And the name of the function is restaurant response to user. And it's going to take the message text. Unfortunately, you don't have to create the code again because we already have the code. Remember, in the assistant response, we already have the code that will be similar. The code for this restaurant chat app will be similar to this. So I'm going to just copy this code. I'm going to paste it inside the restaurant response to user. And we need obviously to fix a few things. First of all, here we need to remove, please wait, because here we aren't going to call any external service. You can leave it if you wish. And we have choices. Of course, if the user chooses case 1 means that the user chooses meal 1. So let's remove this. And here add just for testing, add an alert that will say you chose meal 1. And I'm going to copy it. And for other meals as well, I'm going to paste it. Let's say that we have meal 2 and meal 3. And of course, we need to have a default so that the user, if the user chooses anything other than a number, maybe the user types a text, we need to tell them that they have to choose a number, not just a character or a text. So let's now save and refresh. And I'm going to show you now, if I choose meal number 1, we will have this. You chose meal 1. And this is not enough because we want to register that meal so that we can deliver it to the user. And in order to register it, remember I previously had here a user object, and I told you that I'm going to create this object because it's going to be useful later. And this object, this user object, you can use it to store the meals that the user is going to order. So here you can create a meals array, and it's going to be an empty array, and you can add numbers of store numbers of meals inside this meals property of the user object. And then, of course, you need to send this to your backend in order to deliver the meal or meals to the user. So this is just in the front end. And now here, once the user chooses a meal, we can immediately say or store user.meals and dot push, and we push the number of meal which is going to be 1 at this if the user chooses 1 in case 1, and it's going to be 2 in case 2. Here it's going to be 2, and here it's going to be 3. And let me now also use the console.log just to log the user object to show you the structure. Let me just copy it and add it just at the end here. And let's now refresh again. And let's choose meal number 1. And let me open the console. You will find that in the console, you will find that we have an object, a user object, and it has a meals array, and now it has this, it has only one element, which is one, meal one. We can also, let's choose two. It's going to here create another or print another object which has meals, and it has two meals, one meal number one and meal number two. So whenever the user chooses a meal, we need to register it, and then we can store it in our database so that we deliver this meal to the user.